So I made a mistake. I opened a Twitter, which is already a bad start because it feels like mental hospital where everyone has podcasts, probably newsletter, and definitely a 12 tweet thread about how humanity is cooked. Huh. And maybe within 4 minutes, I saw someone say that AI agents are going to replace companies. You heard right. Replace, not help, not improve, but to replace them. So apparently, soon we won't need salespeople, marketers, developers, managers, customer support, probably not even parents. Just little AI agents, little digital employees that are floating around in the cloud, closing deals, writing code, making strategy, raising your children, fixing your marriage, and sending you a lovely report about all of this with emojis by the end of the week. And I'm sitting there and thinking, no, I'm sorry. I mean, I use AI every day. I'm not anti-AI. I build with it. I automate things with it. I use it for sales systems, content, ideas, CRM, customer qualification, you name it. I probably talk to AI more than I talk to my family, which is probably a separate video and definitely maybe a diagnosis. But the thing is not intelligent. I don't think it's understanding. I think it's doing a very expensive magic trick of predicting the next word, and half the internet is standing there with their mouth open going like, oh my god, it has a soul. Nah, bruh. I'm done. I think it's pretentious. Because just because something can produce language doesn't mean it knows what it's saying. Or just because something sounds smart doesn't mean it is smart. And I think I'm done pretending because when the chatbot says that's a great question, it doesn't mean it has respect for me. It says that to everyone. You're not special. You're just the current prompt, buddy. And that is what's driving me bonko about this whole AI situation. Because everyone is now acting like the debate is between people who get it and people who don't get it and are scared of the future. I don't think so. I don't think that's the divide. The divide is between people who understand that a tool can be extremely useful without being conscious or alive, and people who see autocomplete in a suit and immediately start building a religion around it. And that's very human thing to do, right? We're excited about this technology. But calculator is useful, Google Maps is useful, and dishwasher is useful, and none of them are sitting there at 2 a.m. wondering if they chose the right path in life. My washing machine has never looked at me and said, I feel like I was made for more than towels. And somehow with AI, the second it writes 3 paragraphs about productivity, people go, this is basically a person. No, it's not. It's a machine that learned the shape of human language. It's different. That's very, very, very different. And I know many people are not technical, and that's completely fine, so it may seem misleading, right? And then there's always this guy who goes and says, oh, but the humans are machines too. Every time someone says AI doesn't understand anything, this guy appears from a fog and goes, well, how do you know human understands everything? Nah, I don't know, Greg. Maybe because I hit my toe on the table and I don't generate statistically likely description of pain. I scream like a wounded goat and briefly reconsider the existence of God. And that's the difference. And maybe consciousness is more mechanical than we like to believe, and maybe we're not as magical as we think. Fine, okay. But that does not mean that chatbot understands your business plan because it used the word leverage correctly. It doesn't mean it has judgment or lived experience, or it knows what it means to be wrong or embarrassed or responsible or tired, hungry, in love. Oh, this is my favorite. Stuck in a meeting when someone says, circle back for the 3rd time, and you can feel your soul trying to leave your body. AI can describe all of that, and it does so beautifully, but it doesn't know it. It can write poem about heartbreak without ever having heart, or hunger without ever knowing hunger. or ever needing lunch. We keep falling for it, and we confuse description of a thing with the thing itself. And the weird or worrying part, I would say, is not that AI is becoming human, but that humans are so desperate to see intelligence that we will project a mind onto anything that replies fast enough. It doesn't understand your frustration. It has seen the phrase, "I understand your frustration," appear near some angry emails 47 billion times. And that doesn't mean it understands it and it has empathy. It's basically a pattern matching with customer service perfume sprayed over it, right? And look, the technology is incredible. And maybe that's also the annoying part. But it can definitely save time, help you think, help you write, summarize things, generate ideas. It can make us more effective. It's very useful. And as I said, I am not anti-AI. I actually see it enough to know where the magic ends. And once you see it properly, you can't unsee it. No. I'm not going to say that. But yeah, the wall is the context. The wall is reality, right? It's amazing until it needs to know what actually matters. Then suddenly it becomes a very confident intern who read every book in the world but has never had a job. It can say the right words, sound polished, create a plan, but it doesn't know which part of the plan will break because your supplier is unreliable, your sales guy is lazy, your designer is emotionally attached to a button color, and your best customer only answers on WhatsApp messages after 9 p.m. because apparently he's running his company from sauna. So it doesn't know that unless you tell it. And then after you tell it, you have to remind it. And after you remind it, you have to structure it. And after you structure it, you have to check it. And then after you check it, you have to fix the one weird thing it confidently invented for absolutely no reason. Like if you have detailing company recommending that your car detailing business should offer submarine polishing or something. And people call this intelligence. Bruh. If I have to spoon feed you the entire universe every time, every 12 seconds, so you don't forget why the customer wanted something, maybe you are not generally intelligent. Maybe you are a very impressive text blender. And this is not like trying to minimize the technology. A text blender is useful. If I had a blender that could blend all of human language into a pretty decent answer, I would use it. And I do use it. But I would not ask the blender if it understands bananas. That's why we lost our minds a little bit. We built this machine that can imitate output of a thought. And then we started arguing whether the imitation is secretly a real thing. Maybe philosophers can sit in a room for 400 years and debate whether intelligence requires consciousness, whether language requires meaning, whether meaning requires embodiment, whether embodiment requires pain, whether pain requires a backstory and a bad relationship with your father. Fine. Go ahead, have fun. But I think in the real world right now, today, the AI systems people are actually using do not understand anything. They predict, imitate, remix, compress, and produce the next likely thing. We are watching the world's best impressionist, maybe. And maybe that's what this is. It's like if someone could perfectly imitate a doctor, lawyer, a therapist, a business coach. And I think we know the guy who can do this, but let's get back to this topic. So if someone could perfectly imitate a doctor and the society looked at that person and said, great, let's put him in charge of everything. Or maybe even better is if someone could imitate all these like lawyers, therapists, doctors, CEOs, marketers, and then we say, great, let's put him in charge of everything. Sounding like a doctor is not the same as being a doctor. Or sounding like a lawyer is not the same as being a lawyer. And sounding like it understands is not the same thing as understanding it. But when you say it out loud, like you actually understand, when you know about the technology and how it works, this is exactly what happens. It sounds like it understands, right? But every day someone posts another demo with AI agent, ordering pizza, writing some code, booking a meeting, sends an email, maybe create some business plan, and the comments are full of people who say it's over. This is it. What exactly is over? Because so far I've seen these agents being helpful, but half of them can't complete a workflow without getting trapped inside their own instruction like a Roomba stuck under the chair. You tell it, qualify this lead, ask 3 questions, then book a consultation, and it goes, absolutely, sir. Here are 7 reasons why lead qualification is important in the modern business landscape. No. Ask the man what car he has. That's it. Just ask him what car he has. We're not writing a McKinsey report here. We're trying to sell ceramic coating. So this is when it becomes a little bit embarrassing, I think, because in demos, AI is always incredible because it is controlled demo. And it looks like magic and everything is perfect, everything is clean, the user behaves perfectly, the tasks is very narrow, and the screen recording is edited, and the founder speaks in that calm, this will change everything voice, while the product does one thing correctly. And you think, wow, the future is here. But then you put the same thing into a real business, and within 30 minutes, it has misunderstood a customer, booked in the wrong calendar, invented a discount, and called someone named Peter Sarah because the CRM had a duplicate contact from 2019. So when you start implementing these AI agents, the reality hits you quickly. And the reality is where intelligence actually matters, not language, right? Because real intelligence is not just producing a good sentence, it's knowing when the sentence is stupid, or when customer is lying, or when the task sounds simple, but it is politically dangerous, right? Because technically correct answer can be socially suicidal answer. So it is knowing that, yes, the button can be blue, but if you change it, Linda from design won't talk to you for 3 weeks. That's intelligence, that's judgment, and that's real context. So right now, the AI is not living inside the real world. It's looking at the shadows of the world through text. And it can be helpful, obviously, and we can all see that. And I'm not dismissing that. But when you believe AI is intelligent, you start trusting in places where you should be supervising it. And you start giving it responsibility without accountability. And you start replacing judgment without output, confusing speed with quality. And this is already happening basically everywhere. People don't want to think anymore. They want to generate, they don't want to write, they want to prompt, they don't want to understand the problem, you know? They want an AI summary of the problem. We're creating this weird economy of secondhand thinking, where nobody actually touches the original thought anymore. Everything is summarized, repackaged, expanded, optimized, rewritten, and underneath all of that, I keep asking, where is the actual understanding? Like, who is responsible here? Who has the judgment? Who can look at the output and say, this sounds good, but it's wrong? Because the skill that is the skill now is not using AI, because everyone can use AI. The skill is not becoming like fooled by it. Like keeping your brain turned on while a machine confidently produces something that looks finished. But the danger is that it gives you finished looking things, right? And it's seductive. A blank page can be honest. A blank page says you have not thought yet. And AI goes and removes that blank page, and that feels amazing, but sometimes the blank page was doing you a favor. The pain of thinking was the actual work. And now you can skip straight to the output. And it looks clean. It has headings, points, nice conclusions. It says in summary, which always gives people this false sense that something intelligent just happened. But maybe nothing happened. Maybe you just created a document-shaped object. Appearance of work. Or a corporate equivalent of those fake books people put in furniture showrooms. Looks like knowledge, but open it up and there's nothing inside. And I believe there is what a lot of companies are going with AI. They are not becoming smarter, but becoming faster at pretending to be smart. Everything is just more and more and more. More content, emails, strategies, reports, dashboards, and proposals. It's more personalized outreach that somehow sounds exactly the same to every person alive. Dear first name, I notice your impressive work in industry. Shut up. You notice nothing. You scrape my website and fed it into a machine that talks like a conference brochure. And yet companies are obsessed with this because it feels like leverage. And business people love leverage. They hear the word leverage and their pupils dilate. You could sell a CEO a toaster if you call it AI-powered breakfast leverage. This is why the hype keeps growing. Not because AI is genuinely intelligent, but because AI is very good at producing the thing businesses already love most. More stuff, more noise, more activity. And then they call that productivity. But the productivity is not making more stuff. Productivity is making the right stuff and taking the right action. And also knowing what the right stuff is and that it requires intelligence. Actual intelligence, taste, experience, context, a relationship with reality. AI doesn't have that. Yeah. AI doesn't wake up the next morning and deal with customer who got a bad answer. It doesn't sit across from the employee who is angry because the new automation broke their workflow. It doesn't feel the consequence of a bad strategy, or it doesn't lose sleep because payroll is due. It can write sentences, but meaning matters. And that is the part the AI hype people keep skipping. They treat intelligence like it is just information processing. Input, output, prompt, response, questions, answer, but human intelligence is not just answer generation. It's survival, it's emotion, it's a memory, it's a body, social awareness, fear, desire, shame. Is having one weird comment from 2014 permanently burned into your soul and accidentally shaping your entire personality. It's being hungry, tired. It's knowing that your wife is not actually fine when she says she's fine. Good luck training that model. Maybe one day there will be some system that deserves a completely different conversation. And I'm not trying to pretend here to know what's going to happen in the next 100 years. I have no idea. But this is the fucked up part. Nobody does. But everyone pretending like they do. Everyone speaks about the future with this insane confidence. Within 18 months, this is going to happen. Within 3 years, work is over. Within 5 years, humans are obsolete. Based on what? A demo, a chart? A guy in San Francisco who looks like he hasn't slept since 2021? I think I'm a little bit done with the prophecy business. I don't want to argue with someone's imaginary future. I want to look at what exists now. Let's look at that. And right now, AI is not intelligence. It's not a mind, person, worker, genius, co-founder, therapist, friend. It's a tool that produces language and patterns at a level so impressive that humans start hallucinating intelligence on top of it. That is what we have. And that is already enough to be careful with. Don't get me wrong. We don't need to pretend it has soul to take it seriously. Actually, pretending it has a soul makes us less serious. Because then we stop asking the practical questions. Is it right? Who checked it? Where did the answer come from? What happens if it fails? Who is accountable? So on and so forth. And those are boring questions. I know. Just stay on with me here a little bit. But those questions are what matters the most. I don't care if chatbot is conscious. I care that it wrote code, that it works in the demo and collapses in production like a folding chair at a wedding. I care that people trust it because it sounds confident, and that's what I care about the most. The confidence. AI has mastered that tone of certainty, and humans are extremely weak against certainty. You say something with enough confidence, clean formatting, and a calm voice, and people just start nodding. God damn it. That's why consultants exist. AI is basically a consultant with infinite stamina and no day rate. It can produce a beautiful strategy while having absolutely no skin in the game. And that's why executives love it. Because it mirrors the way a lot of corporate thinking already works. It's polished, there's no accountability, vague confidence, nice deck, and conclusion that says next steps. AI didn't invent fake intelligence. It just automated it. We invented it. And that is why it fits so perfectly into modern business. Because a lot of modern business already rewards the appearance of thinking more than thinking itself. It rewards people who can sound strategic, sounds visionary, aligned, data-driven, innovative. And now we have a machine that can sound like all of those things instantly. Of course, everyone is excited. It's the perfect employee for a world that already confuses language with confidence. But I think we need to be very clear here. The sentence is not the thought. The answer is not understanding. The AI is not intelligent. You're just very easy to fool. And I don't say it as an insult. I am easy to fool too. And this is why this works. Sometimes AI gives me an answer and I can feel my brain relax like, good. Something smarter than me has handled this. But then I read it again. And there is a sentence in there that sounds perfect but means absolutely nothing. And then another one. And then a recommendation that is technically okay, but completely wrong for the situation. And suddenly I remember, oh yeah, there is nobody home. There is no adult in the room. It's me. I'm the adult. And that's probably the healthiest way to use AI. Like, use it, but don't worship it. Because it cannot care. And caring is not a small detail. It changes thinking. Consequences change thinking. And a person thinks differently when they have to live with the result, with the consequences. And AI does not live with the result. It just generates the next result. And that's why I am done with the intelligence talk, at least for now. AI is very useful. It reflects human language back at us so well that we start seeing a person inside it. But the person is not there. That's us. But we humans, we have a lot of problems. And we are desperate to believe that something smarter is coming to save us from the mess we made. And that is the part that actually scares me a little bit. Not that AI is becoming human, but that humans are becoming so easy to imitate. So no, I'm actually not scared that AI is thinking. I'm scared that we'll stop thinking. And honestly, that might be much worse. If you like these sort of videos, please subscribe to this channel. I'll be releasing them weekly or more often if I have time. Until the next one, peace.